ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो परमगुरुभ्यो श्रीमदानंदतीर्थ भगवत्पादाचार्योभ्यो नमो नमः। नारायण परिपूर्ण गुणार्णवाय विश्वोदय स्थितितोलय नियतिप्रताय ज्ञानप्रताय विबुधा सुर सौख्य दुःख सत्कारणाय विददाय नमो नमस्ते। यो विप्रलिम्ब विपरीत मतिप्रबुदान् वादान् निरस्य कृतवान् भुवि तत्त्ववादम् सर्वेश्वरो हरिरीति प्रतिपातकं तम् आनन्दतीर्थमुनिवर्यं नमामि। पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मरताय च भजतां कल्पवृक्षाय नमतां कामधेनुवे। सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावतीतमस्तु मा विश्विदावहैः। ओम शांति शांति शांतिः। माण्डुक्योपनिषदः शान्तिपाठः। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवांस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति न क्षार्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Friends, we were going through the Kanda number 3, where we have taken the Upasana on each Akshara of Om, A, U, Ma, and what are all the benefits we have seen in a great detail. And we also saw how this Upasana has been taken to the highest level by all the Acharyas. And particularly in Tattvavada, it had a specific significance, because as Madhvacharya has taken A, U, Ma, as well as the Nada, consisting of Bindu, Kosha, Shanta, Ashanta, everything together. And it has been attributed to the sort of a greatness of, the glory of Vishnu in his avatars, from Varaha Avatara, Narasimha Avatara, Rama Avatara, and Krishna Avatara. All the 4 avatars, based on that, he has imparted the Upasana. While imparting the Upasana, he has given the Vigraha of the respective avatars. Varaha Avatara, we said, it has been given to Vishnu Tirtha. Vishnu Tirtha is one of the greatest sannyasin. I think in Purvashrama, he was the brother of Madhvacharya also. And last week, we were wondering, because to which mutt he belongs to. And it came to be finally, because I have found out he is from Sode Mutt. The Vishnu Tirtha is the founder of Sode Mutt. So Akshobha Tirtha, like, is for the founder of the Palimar Mutt, because like all of them, Hrishikesh Tirtha is the founder of the Palimar Mutt. Like all of them are Rama Tirtha, whom we talked about the Narasimha Upasana through the Makara. He belongs to Kaniyur Mutt. So all these upasanas have been given, and the procedures that is followed is according to the requirement of the respective deities. Because Varaha, for you need, because specific upasana and specific procedure to perform. For Narasimha Avatar also, I think you will have to do, with the particular, you will have to have certain particular mental hygiene, and the procedural perfection is required. So that is very important for that. So is the Mularama. Mularama you find in Uttaradi Mutt, and in fact the Mantralayam, because this Rayar Mutt also is there. Basically, if you see, how this evolution of all of you might have heard, the history of all these mutts and all. In fact, Mantralayam Mutt, this originally it also part of, Uttaradi Mutt only, a branch that has gone about. During is because the earlier times, when the sannyasin, because they are being ordained, it has happened even the Rajendra Tirtha, when he had come, then Vyasaraya Mutt was also founded, mainly because he had come, but in the meanwhile, he also was given a diksha and he has gone to propagate. In fact, he went to West Bengal. The Lakshmipati Tirtha, who was there, who is supposed to be the direct disciple of Madhava Puri, his disciple, who is in fact the guru to Chaitanya. Likewise, the ISKCON movement also, the Chaitanya movement also, Gaudiya movement also come from the part of this Madhvashrama only. And in fact, they also consider Rajendra Tirtha and all these Jaitirtha in their Guru Parampara. So likewise, it has proliferated almost, and we have also got something called a Kashimat. It's also supposed to be a branch of Mantralayam, but likewise, we have got everything and all. Vijayendra Tirtha, he also had his own separate establishment. In fact, Vijayendra Tirtha is direct disciple of Vyasaraj Tirtha. And in fact, Raghavendra Swami is avatar of Vyasa Tirtha. Not only is Vyasa Tirtha, and he is also Prahalada. All the three are together there and all. So Vijayendra Tirtha, when he had taken the Upasana, he was having, his own, he had a lot of occult powers. All the 64 Siddhis were there with him. He was the contemporary of great Appaya Dikshita of Advaita stream. Though Appaya Dikshita and Raghavendra Swami, they used to have, because the philosophical debate on the respective streams, Advaita and Tattvavada and all, they have also had a great respect, with Vijayendra Tirtha and Appaya Dikshita. Vijayendra Tirtha, Appaya Dikshita are contemporary. And they had a mutual respect for them. In fact, there is one particular story that is going about just for the purpose of information, because this is an occasion we can exchange a lot of the historical information that has come into the light. Appaya Dikshita, they all, used to look askance, with some of the percepts of Tattvavada and all. Even Madhvacharya has gone to the Vyasa Guha and he has not returned, because that is how, because the Madhvanavami we are celebrating, the day when he has gone there and he has left his sekshas, because to be reciting, his work, and he has gone there and all. He didn't subscribe to that particular point of view, the Appaya Dikshita. But after interacting with the Vijayendra Tirtha, after having a lot of discussions and debate over philosophical issues of Advaita and Tattvavada, he said, but I can believe one thing. Madhvacharya must have taken the shape of Vijayendra Tirtha and must have come into this world. I'm not sure, whether he has gone and, because he has been there in the Vyasa Guha, because Vijayendra Tirtha was so proliferate and, he could counter every argument. In fact, he could take it to the level where Appaya Dikshita was so convinced, he could nothing but be avatar of Madhvacharya. See, that is the level of respect and regard they had, between mutual. Likewise, Vijayendra Tirtha also has had a very good words for Appaya Dikshita. In fact, there is a sloka by Appaya Dikshita praising Vijayendra Tirtha. So Vijayendra Tirtha, from Vijayendra Tirtha's lineage only Raghavendra Swami has come. Vijayendra Tirtha, afterwards Sutindra Tirtha, then he has come. Sutindra Tirtha, when he has come there. So therefore, there is, and not only that, as history would have certain coincidences, tautology, what they call it. Raghavendra Swami was honored for his work on Jaimini's Dharma Shastra, and Bhatta Sangraha is there. Bhatta Sangraha is a great scripture written on Dharma Shastra, like what we call the Brahma Sutram. The Dharma Sutram, which was written by Jaimini. Jaimini is the disciple of Vyasa only. It is normally called Purva Paksha, which tells about all those rituals and how the effects of it, Dharma Shastra, what is Dharma and all. And for that, as a young student, even before his sannyasa, he's wrote that Bhatta Sangraha. The Bhatta Sangraha is nothing but an exposition of Dharma Sutra. For that, Sri Raghavendra Swami was honored by one Nilakanta Dikshitar. And the Nilakanta Dikshitar has come in the lineage of Appaya Dikshitar.
Not able to, audio is silent.
think the net problem, internet problem.
Oh, okay, okay.
I think I'm keeping the other option also open. The internet appears to be quite weak now. The voice is audible, no?
Voice
Yes,
is
yes,
audible.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
voice is okay.
So this upasanas and what we have talked about and the effects of it, this is generally accepted, and we all, because when we get the benefits of this upasana, what we get is jnana vairagya siddhyartha. See, when you do in the Vishwa, because the waking state, when you are initially doing, you will be looking for the set of aspirations, the completion of the desires, and getting into whatever you are supposed to be getting, with your efforts and the benefits of it. Pala, you will be looking for that. Over a period of time, when all the desires loses the meaning, slowly I think you will get into that mode. The vairagyam will come. Any echo is there?
Yeah,
Yes,
echo is
yes.
there. Echo is
I
there.
think
I,
Echo has crept in.
I think madam has to mute it.
yeah. I think you will have to.
Yes, noted.
Mute it, but I don't know why there is echo.
Okay. I think
Only the video is not going.
Prabhuda, you are muted.
Yeah, let me see. I have.
Yeah, muting is okay. Okay. I think now it should be there. If the muting is there, there should not be any echo. So when we get all these three, benefits of it, Ahu Ma, Apti Samanvaya, Adi Samanvaya, when we said Adi Samanvaya is we good as much as without any our own desires, we kept into that mode, we are almost similar. Our sort of a bliss is similar to that of Almighty. That is the first state. And Apti Samanvaya is we don't have any desires. Nothing is left to be asked for. And then you come into this dream state where we have Swapnasthana. There also, because we have got the knowledge, highest knowledge. We also said none will be in our lineage. Madam, can you just put the head on?
Yeah.
Krishnan sir, you have also muted, I hope. Okay, yes. See, none will be in the lineage who will be without the Brahmavit. They will not be na Abrahmavit. In the sense, everyone will be knowledgeable in our lineage by taking that you. So at that point of time, what happens? How you get that knowledge? Then you also get into that highest mode of jnana vairagya siddhyartham that continues. So what you got the vairagya in the waking state, that becomes a jnana vairagya. You have got the knowledge also, so that you know this body is not mine. The entire thing what I am possessing is not mine. Because we must remember that great mantra, we had it in Kenopanishad. Because that Manohar Namanam, because even when what your mind thinks is not the Brahman, what makes the mind to think, he is the Brahman. So how you can know? By doing the Upasita, he is always by your side. The Jiva is not this Atman, but the Jiva is by his side. He is helping us. He is giving all the life force, energy, knowledge, everything he gives us. So by doing Upasana to him, we are trying to comprehend, we are trying to apprehend, not comprehend that Brahman. That's what we have seen in Kenopanishadam. The same thing is being reflected here. But when we do the Upasana, when we do, because the question may arise, why can't we stop at U itself? Om is made of A, U, Ma. When the God of Upasana, why can't you stop? And that will not happen. Because when you complete the cycle of Ahu Ma, then only you get the Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham in the cycle continuously. And we will see one more Upanishad, which is coming after our Kathopanishad. And maybe after Kathopanishad, we will be taking up one more Upanishad called Mundaka Upanishad. Normally it is called. It is otherwise known as Adarva Upanishad. Adarva Upanishad, it is coming in the Adarva Veda. That's why it is called Adarva Upanishad. After that, there will be a Upanishad called Satprashna Upanishad. Prashna Upanishad is the normal word which is used for referring to that. But in Tattvavada and Madhvacharya and all of us, because even other scholars, they refer it to Satprashna Upanishad. In Satprashna Upanishad, chapter 5, it explains what are all the benefits a person will obtain by doing this Upasana and all these things. This Upasana will be complete only when you are able to complete A, U, Ma, and you are eligible to get into the Turiya mode. Then only you get that. By doing that, this A Upasana, this Satprashna Upanishad says, even if you are having a rebirth, you will be a sort of a great master. You will be a celibate, and you will be someone who could be respected. You will not be going after the worldly things. You are someone, because outstanding, who has because some of the Mahans who have come into the world, you will be like that. And when you are doing the Swapnasthana, Upasana, when you got Utkarshata and Ubhayattva, where you got everyone in the lineage has got that knowledge of Brahman, and when you are also having Samanya, we said, you will get, you will not have any Dvesha. You will be equivocal and you will be equanimous in your dealing with that. You will be something like an arbitrator. That's what we talked about. When you get that Upasana, that Satprashna Upanishad says, even if you are born, you become something like a great guru. You will have great Sishyas. Sishyas, like Paramahamsa, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa had Vivekananda and that type of a thing, you will be having it. That is the benefit of it. This palas which you come, when you come not because of material benefits, but the Sanatana, when you get the highest benefit of Chitta, Chaitanya, you get that benefit it's there. And when you go to the Ma Upasana, what said, because you are into the custody of the Brahman, he takes you full, into his custody. You are, overpowered and, you are being kept, as if, you are in the dark room. So you don't have anything to worry for. And he takes care of that. But then, because once the temporary mode is off, then you come back to the waking stage again. So, but once you have developed the Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham by a repeated cycle of the waking, dreaming and deep sleep, and you do the continuous Upasana, you slowly get into that mode where you will be able to, by doing that, when you are in the custody of the Paramatma, Mitehe, and when you are able to get through to anyone's mind, because you will be able to get into someone's mind and create the thought as you would like to. That's what they say. In Ma Upasana, you will, in the Wu Upasana, it is like hypnosis. You will be able to suggest someone and do the action what you expect them to do. The hypnosis that happens in the dream state, it is equivalent. It's not really hypnosis. You will be able to give the knowledge. You will be giving to suggestive, because Brahma knowledge, cannot be given by, it is Avyupadesham. You will not be able to sort of give it by training and all. The person has to understand by his own Upasana and Sadhana. So when in the dream state, one has to go through, it is being equivalent to something like, because hypnosis, what happens, you are suggesting the other person what he can do. Likewise, in the Upasana, you will be showing your Sishyas, your lineage, how to know the Brahma knowledge. That's why, in your lineage, no one will be without everyone will be fully knowledgeable about Brahman. That comes when you do the Upasana. In the Ma Upasana, when you say, when you've gone about that, you will be someone, you will be able to actually influence someone's mind, influence someone's thought. That's why when you go to in front of the great masters, you go with so many things. I will ask him this, I will ask for the solution for this, but finally you lose everything. You don't ask for anything. He knows, because they calm their mind, they calm your mind. They make you to think and get the clarity so that you can get through to your problems yourself without any problem. That's how they are making you to do yourself with His grace. By seeing them, you become potential to get the grace of the God. That is how you are able to get it. That's how the entire life goes. So when it goes all the three, the Laya center, when you, the Ma, when we said, finally the last one where we have seen, Mitehe, he takes you into the custody and, he gives you everything to, so that, you become bliss, there is no sorrow. And once that sorrow is not there, because in the sense you don't have any reason to have a sorrow. So one of the words that is, apatischva, apiteha, in the sense you don't have any sorrow. And not only that, once you become sorrowless, you become capable of removing someone else's sorrow also, when the Ma Upasana is there. That is such a high power, because when someone, is there, you feel, I went and met him. Now I got everything okay, you may feel that. How it happens? Because it is that Upasana that has come about. It takes you to the Laya center. The Laya center is the center, in which, you go about, you just, from there you are catapulted into the highest level. You are being, you are like a space journey, you get into the interstellar space, the Laya center. When Ma Upasana is there, once you continuously having the Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham, and with all the acharyas say, finally what you have to get to is Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham. What is the siddhi you take? Immediately, initially you will ask for Purushartha, Artha, Kama, and all those things, you will be asking. But after you grow, you will be asking for Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham. Once Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham comes, once you do the Ma Upasana, we will see, how it is going to be reflected in the next. And all these questions have been answered in the Prashna Upanishad. What is exactly happens to him? In the Upasana, the person, will be born, even if he is reborn, he will become a great Jnani. And with the Upasana, even if he becomes, he will be such a great Jnani, capable of producing so many great Sishyas. And they will also be having all the highest qualities of a brahmacharya, celibacy, and the highest knowledge, wisdom, everything they will be having it. And once you have the Ma Upasana, you will be fearless, and you will be able to, because even people who see you will think, they have already got their problem solved. Because, your presence will set the thought in their mind, because they will get the proper solution for them, and they will also get the bliss. They will also have all the sorrows removed. That's what they say. Once you get all these things, what is that is going to be in the Turiya? Because next Kanda is going to explain that. You have almost got whatever you wanted. What else is there and all? Because you have to have in the entire Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham that to be there in all the three states, to be able to get into, cross the Laya center and get into the Adhyatma mode of Turiya. First we were all in the gross body, gross world. Then we are in the subtle world, where the dream and all there. Then we came into the nescience, pure bliss without the knowledge. Now, once avidya is fully going to be removed, and then you are going to have the final Turiya, that next Kanda we are going to take about. What happens is, when you cross the Laya center with a great Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham, you have achieved through this period and all. You get into there also, all the three states will be there. Those three states will be like a samadhi. The waking state, once you cross the Laya center after Ma, is the Nada stage. When you go there, you will be in a samadhi, in the sense always, your thought will be fully with the Almighty. Almighty in the sense you will be having the awareness into everything, whatever you are going to do and all. You will not be thinking anything, because whatever is, you will be seeing everything, because you will be seeing the substratum, as in the Advaita says. You will be seeing the true nature of it. When you finally get, what is that happens? See, the Chin Mudra you might have seen, all those great acharyas, or Buddha, or even Chin Mudra is the one, which they are showing with the thumb and the forefinger together it comes to Chin. What normally happens is we have got 5 fingers. The 5 fingers, the little finger onwards to the 4 fingers, this is avidya, kama and karma. These 3 fingers denote that. The 4th finger is the point finger is jiva. And when these together, the jiva is with avidya, kama and karma. With this, we are continue to do our exist in this world. Once we get into the Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham, what happens is the jiva, this is the Paramatma. This is the consciousness, whatever they call it. This is the thumb is the Paramatma. When the jiva and Paramatma, when you are getting into that mode, when you are getting all the qualities which is similarity, with the bliss of Satchitananda, when you get it, then this kama, karma and avidya, all of them goes off. They are separate from jiva. Till then they are with the jiva. So when it is with the jiva, you are in this world. And these 4 fingers together, the jiva with kama, karma and avidya, that is called vyavaharika in Advaita. That is, you are living in this world. You are only jiva. They say once you get the knowledge, the forefinger goes with the thumb, that is the consciousness of the Atma, that is self they call Aham Brahmasmi when they say together when you get it, you get the knowledge and that is the mukti. That is what they say. Whereas in Advaita and Visishta Advaita, that is not the end of it. It is further being. Here, you just get into the fold of Paramatma, custody of Paramatma. Once you get into that, this doesn't matter. Kama, karma and avidya goes off. The avidya is because that goes off. That is why when you have a chin mudra, normally when they have it, the full power with the chin mudra, when they are sitting there, any posture, you go to the great acharyas, even if you have seen the statues with that, that means jiva has to be with the consciousness of Paramatma, and the kama, karma, avidya, they have to be separated. Once Jnana Vairagya Siddhartham is there, you get separated. In the Laya center, when you cross it, once you are in that mode, your waking state or dream state or the deep sleep state, after crossing the Laya center with the samadhi, and it is a higher level of samadhi, and the bliss is, you cannot imagine, you cannot quantificate that bliss. That bliss is endless. It is as good as that similarity with the Paramatma. You are not Paramatma, but you will have all the bliss equivalent to that of Paramatma. That is what it is, because the similarity will be there and there will not be any rebirth. Till then, when you are not able to have this chin mudra where the jiva and the Paramatma, the Adi Samanmaya, Apti Samanmaya, and Utkarshata, Ubhayatvata, and when you are in the custody of Mitehe, when you are into that and get the bliss of it and cross over, then you are into this mode. You can almost like a chin mudra. You are also like someone, who does nothing matter to you. Then once you got into the stage, you don't come into the waking stage, you don't come into the deep sleep state, you don't come into the dream state. Till then, till you cross the Laya, you are back into all these 3 continuously. So this normally happens. When it happens, that happens only when you leave the body. Videha Mukti, that's what they say. Once the leave, because when the such a knowledge, your Chaitanya is there, your Chaitana will take care of it. But there is also a concept in Advaita, you can be a Jivan Mukta. When you are living in this world itself, you could be. When you are living in the world, you could be in the sense that needs, you will not be able to, like Ramana Maharishi, you can say he is a Jivan Mukta. He didn't have anything. He lived in this world and so many people went and asked him, questions, all sorts of questions, including, how, I have to have the pleasures of this life. Because he said, you got the intelligence and the indulgence. You are going for the indulgence. Indulgence, takes you to further indulgence. Intelligence takes you up to a level. Afterwards, intelligence is of also no use. Even it is like a pole vault. You will have to leave it. You will have to go beyond that. You will have to trespass into the territory, transcendental territory where nothing is there. Where you have got only the bliss which you can apprehend Nothing is there. That is what, that we are not able to, that we can't, imagine or experience with this body, mind and intellect. Till such time body, mind and intellect is, these upasanas will help you to develop. These are all not only steps, because the same Paramatma in his different form comes as Vishwa, Tejasa and Pragya. He is giving you, he is nothing but the same Paramatma, but he is coming in different forms. But you are in a lower stage. In the lower stage, in lower dimension, he gives you that benefit so that you can derive it. As you evolve into the dimension, and it is a sort of a superimposed, concatenation, because once into that, because when Tejasa is there, it takes the Vishwa also into account. Once you are into the Pragya, Sushupta is there, it is also taking other two into account. Finally, when you have overall growth of Jnana Vairagya Siddhyartham, when you cross the Laya center, you become so blissful, you cross the entire barrier. So nothing is going to prevent you coming from here to that end. So in this context only, I think, because when Acharya has given the upasana for each letters, what he has given is finally the womb, finally the entire, all his sishyas will have to finally do the upasana in such a way. The effect of the womb is available to everyone, whoever is following them, whoever is being taught by them. But at the same time, they have to, because he said, because since Avu Ma Upasana is more important to get the Nada Upasana, finally, all of them, will have to be performed. Whereas in Advaita, the thing is, it is not so important to do Avu Ma. Avu Ma, of course, important. That same Pala is also there, Satprashna Upanishad, which they also consider, because that Upanishad, whatever has written has been proven true, once you take the rebirth, that's also there. But then Upasana has been given such a importance. That is why Sishyas, all his Sishyas of Madhvacharya, they have to pursue that. They have to do Om Upasanas. All these Acharyas, I think, we may not be knowing them. They will be doing the Om as well as Onkara Upasana, as well as the respective Upasana given to their Mat. They will be doing it all through, so that, it comes not because for them, whoever is coming to them, whoever is sort of approaching them, they all get the benefit. And not only that, the world, the universe gets the benefit. The Prakriti is the, finally, in the embodiment of Sri Lakshmi's, she is the one, Shrihi, Shrikara, she is the one finally gives the entire thing to Prakriti. Though she is with the Paramatma, but she has been given the responsibility, she takes the responsibility of entire beings, whoever has been brought into this world, for the Nichoja Bhavam Gataha, to enable them to grow, and she takes it. And that's why this Lakshmi Upasana and always, the respective Avuma Upasana, because that is normally we may not be knowing. We said, Mularama is there, Narsimha is there, and behind that there is a great concept which the Acharya has enshrined and given it to them, so that, because that continues and nothing is left unfulfilled. That is, Onkara Upasana has been taken to that level only. And in fact, all the sannyasis, all the acharyas, Onkara Upasana is very important, irrespective of the Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, or Dvaita, or Tattvavada, whatever you call it. All of them do it. And they have got particular way of doing. Grihasthas are supposed to do it only to a limited extent, because it will give you Jnana Vairagya. Vairagyam will come. Once Jnana and Vairagya comes, because nothing matters. Even anything in the worldly affair doesn't matter. That's why Grihasthas have been advised, you do it in a limited way, and even the ladies are advised to do to the limited number. I think one question was asked a few weeks back, whether it is said the ladies should not chant. It's not that they can chant. They can chant in a limited way, and they have got other means of knowing it. In fact, Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya was written by Srimad Acharya. Basically, it can be read, and it can be, they can do the upasana based on that for all the women folks. Otherwise, they were not, because Mahabharata has been written by Vyasa himself, so that, all the women folk, because the other gender, they can get the knowledge of the Veda. And that's why it's called the fifth Veda also. There is nothing that is not uncovered in Mahabharata Tattva. Mahabharata itself. Mahabharata Tatparya Nirnaya is giving the essence of entire thing. That's why it has got, because Mahabharata has got 3 great scriptures into that. One is Bhagavad Gita is part of it, and the Vishnu Sahasranamam is part of it, and some of the Puranas are part of it. Not only that, Mahabharata has got your Shiva Sahasranamam is there, and even other Sahasranamams are also there. In Brahmanda Purana, you got the Lalita Sahasranamam is there. All those things are written by Vyasa only. He has given everywhere, all the great sort of mantras, so that people can Lalita Sahasranamam, all ladies can recite at any point of time. So Mahabharata they can read it, because these are all the means given to them. They also get the highest knowledge in this world, and they also have got all these benefits of it. It is not, Atma doesn't have any gender. It is neither feminine nor otherwise. It is nothing. It has got well, Atma is Atma. It is a permanent. It is soul. That is why we have to treat everyone with everyone is Atma. If you see with the Atma Bhava, you will have to give equal respect. There is no superiority or inferiority and this and that. These are all brought about in our worldly affairs. But this doesn't have any meaning whatsoever, in the Adhyatmic world. So that's why, Mahabharata in Shastreshu Sarvam, because it is supposed to be the highest Shastra, because there is no concept that is not covered in Mahabharata as anyone ever covered, because it has been written by one Western scholar itself. Whatever concept you think about, whatever screenplay or whatever sort of a novel you write, all the concepts are somewhere available in Mahabharata. It is such a great scripture. So there is nothing that is not uncovered. As well as, if you go to the height of, your Adhyatmic Bhava, that is also there. And Gita is enshrined in Mahabharata only. And it gives you the jnana. And the entire Sara of Mahabharata, including Sara of devotion, that has been given in Vishnu Sahasranam. That's why, Vishnu Sahasranam is considered to be so important, which we have covered separately elsewhere also. Because that is so important, because it was given in a context and it is being capsuled so that that is available to you. Why it has been done? Even the Veda was only one in the Krita Yuga, and even in fact Treta Yuga also there was no great difference between all the, because it was not divided at all. Only it was divided in Dwapara Yuga because people lost the capacity to remember, recite and practice. They do the upasana of the entire Veda. That's why it was split into 4. After that was split into 4, and in order to understand this Vedanta, these Smritis and all have been written. All 18 Puranas, was written by Vyasa, Krishna Dvaipayana, basically to bring about the knowledge to the world. And in each of the Puranas, he has also covered the capsules of other Puranas, so that it doesn't lose, because someone reading a Purana, they may not be knowing. In Padma Purana also there is a Vishnu Sahasranam. See, for instance, it is not only in Mahabharata Vishnu Sahasranam, there is a Padma Purana, there is a Vishnu Sahasranam. There is a Skanda Purana, there is a Vishnu Sahasranam is there. They are all capsuled and given in a different form, so that this knowledge is available for the entire world continuously. So this is what we have seen, and we have also seen, the Upasana in Tattvavada, as each Mata has been given the responsibility to do the Upasana as well as to Omkara Upasana, because that is the highest Upasana. It is a primordial syllable. Whatever you may have, thousands of mantras, thousands of suktas, thousands of Upasanas, everything will be there. Finally, it all boils down to one magic and mystic syllable, Om. That's why this entire Upanishad is considered to be so philosophical. The no other, where nowhere else you will find such a great explanation of this particular mystic syllable as it has been given. This is the origin. This is from where everything has come. This denotes the Paramatma. It denotes the Mahavishnu as per Tattvavada. It denotes the consciousness by others also, because the syllable has got such a great importance. Without that, nothing can start or nothing can end. From there it has come. We will have to go with that and travel with the whole journey. This is what it is. Then we have seen, this book for the, basically to recap and get into the Brahmadrishtam of this particular third Kanda. We are just going about it, and we will be covering in maybe this week as well as we don't have much of a time. We will start with, and next week also we will try to have. We have got 5 mantras in Brahmadrishtam. If you all say have page, it may be somewhere in 43 or so. Third Kanda, Karika verse. Karika verse in 18, it will be there. 19 to 23 will be the Karika verse, which is pertaining to third Kanda. The first Karika, first Brahmadrishta mantra is Vishwashya Atva Adi, Vishwashya Atva Adi, Vivakshayam Adi Samanya Utkatam. This is the first mantra. This Vishwashya of the Vishwa, Atva Vishwakshayam, in desiring to explain the appropriateness of the being called A. So we have seen what A in a great detail and all. Basically, it gives, what is the benefit and why it is so important. The Brahmadrishtam further elucidates whatever we have seen. Vishwashya Atava Vivakshayam Adi Samanyam Utkatam. Matra Srampati Pattau Syayat Apti Samanyam Evacha. See, in fact, it says in mediating this gave Vishwa, when we had this Adi Samanvaya and Apti Samanvaya, when we have got, what is that, how you can say that Adi Samanvaya we are getting it, Apti Samanvaya? In the occult, when you are repeatedly working on a particular image or a particular concept, what happens is you yourself become that particular concept. See, normally, what is our personality? Our personality is nothing but a function of our mind. What is our mind? Our mind is nothing but the function of our thoughts. What is our thoughts? And our thoughts is nothing but the knowledge we have acquired and the idiosyncrasies we have acquired, and we have got the slant on certain things, because we have got certain expertise, everything acquired, everything. Our personality is that, nothing more than that. Our mind is nothing but what reflects in our personality. When someone else is a pleasant personality, or he is a very strong personality, when we sometimes we say he's a weak personality, or he can't do that, he doesn't have the ability to do that. When we say, and no, I think you have to put someone else for that job. That's what these are all the reflection of our mind. That basically shows we could be anything, but why we could not be anything? This is where it comes Nichocha Bhavam Gataha. We have got the seed characteristic of each one of us. At the same time, we have got our Chaitanya based on our Prarabdha Karma, and then whatever the knowledge we have acquired. See, none of the knowledge you acquire in this birth or earlier birth go waste. They are all stored and kept in Chaitanya. The Chaitanya that takes you through the entire life. When it does, when you are going through that, so that each one of us become different, because we could be of the same, we could be born in the same place, we could have been educated in the same institution, but finally we come out, we are all different. Why? Because this is what it happens. Here when it says, once you continuously be sort of working on doing the upasana on a particular concept, Adi Samanvaya or Apti Samanvaya, when you do that, you become part of that, you become that. Because mentally, how you become that, mentally your attitude become like that. Suppose, if a person is living, by the side of a fisherman's cave, where people are only doing fishing, you will be more accustomed to the smell of the fish. Whereas if you are in a city, the smell of the fish is, unbearable. I think, you will put all sorts of obstruction, people not to come and all. That's why fish market is something different elsewhere. It is like that. So likewise, because it is where you get habituated. The mind is also like that. Whatever thought you are habituated, what you are being taught about it. But in spite of it, your Chaitanya works. That's why some people, even in the circumstances in which they can't become, they become very great, because they have got the knowledge already. Very poor background, the people come and they shine like anything, in the corporate world. Or they shine anything in the scientific world. How it? Because they have all got the Chaitanya already there. It is gained. That is where, the Atman is always ever living, because Atman is living in the form of Chaitanya. It comes to us. We have got all the 4 koshas, 5 koshas, what we have talked about. Pranamaya Kosha, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha, all the koshas when it comes, they are all representing the part of the brains only, the intelligence, and the part of it, the storage of knowledge. Finally, when Ananda is the bliss, the ability to get the bliss. And we are all having avidya in all the things we said, and even Vishwa also avidya. We have also got the dream state also. Swapna also avidya is there. Sushupta sthana nescience. We are totally into the avidya. It's sort of a there is no lack of knowledge, absence of knowledge that is there and all. This absence of knowledge and avidya is also given by the God, by the respective soul, to do the upasana to get it removed. And he doesn't give it as it is, because this is what we have earned by our karmas, by our actions. In any other birth, we have got it. Now, in this birth, when you are trying to correct, when you take this knowledge, all these are getting into your bank account. Nothing is getting lost. No effort is going waste in Adhyatma. In Adhyatma, all the effort we have put in is coming into and folding you into a great stability, and it is going to guide you through entire your the journey in this life and elsewhere also. It is going to do that. That is why Adhyatma is very important. Adhyatma in the sense, when you are getting into the inward journey. Otherwise, the outward journey, the body, mind and intellect have always trained, the habit is there. You can get into it. Once you go out of this room and get into the indulgence, you can indulge in anything. But whether you have to indulge or not, your Chaitanya that says, because whatever is available in this world is available to everyone else. But why some people are able to do much better, because they have not given importance to what is available into this world. But what is available with them, they have given importance to it. Basically, we have not given attention to what is available with us. That is what, the Adhyatma takes you and gives us the treasure, whatever you have got, and you can just add on and go about it. That is what exactly this Jnana Brahmadrishtam also says. That is what the third kanda also says. Similarly, the next mantra also, it is also about the Swapnasthana, it says. It is also same thing. It is saying, once you are coming into the first mantra we have completed, and the second mantra is, first mantra is saying, Sampratipattau Syayat Apti Samanyam Evacha. That is what it says. Tejasasya Uttva Vijnane. Tejas is Uttva Vijnane in the sense, Tejasa, what it does is, it gives you out the Dehabhimana. You are not concerned about your body, only your latent impressions of the mind. That is a very subtle thing. You are not bodily comforts, you are not bothered about it. The mental impression, it takes you one level higher. That's why we call it as Utkarshata. We said Uttva Vijnanena is elevated understanding without the attachment of the body. Drishyate, Utkarsha Drishyate, when you see the higher level of knowledge in the dream state, Matra Samprativattau, on meditation on this aspect of the Lord, Tejasa, what you are finally getting, Ubhayatattvam, that is, you get into the highest level of equanimity, highest level of the knowledge, higher knowledge. The pursuit of knowledge becomes very, very significant. That's why we said, in this state only Ramanujan has got his grand visions of his, that entire mathematical thing. Even Einstein got his ideas only in this state. Because this is where it takes you out to that. Because once you go to the Sushuptasthana, it is all absence of knowledge. Absence of knowledge is bliss. You don't have any ill will, attachment, equanimous. You are blissful and you are equal to everyone. When in the Sushuptasthana, we are equal, same thing. If a dog sleeping outside my building is also same, a cat is also same, and the tiger sleeping in the forest, all of us are same at that point of time, Sushuptasthana. We are all in the custody of the Almighty. That is one state, none of us different. Even a person sleeping, under the flyovers, whoever migrant laborers, they come and in the deep sleep, we are all of the same state. There is no difference with it. That is why Madhvacharya said, Nana Janasya Shushruta Karma hai. When you are doing, what is the difference? First you be a human being, then you become whatever you are, Pandit, you are being Jnani or whatever you become like that. That's what in Tejasa also said. Tatra Sampratipatto Syayat Ubayatvam Tada Vityam. So once you know this object of power, because this is finally what you are achieving in Ubayatva, then you go to the next Sushupta Sthana. Sushupta Sthana also, we will see next week, because the benefits highlighted and how it takes you to the elevated level in the Brahmadrishtam. And after that, we have got 2 more mantras are there that we will be covering. With that, we will be completing the Kanda number 3. The Kanda number 3 is basically Upasana. We all talked about the greatness of the mantras, and we are here how, Avu Ma is there, everything we have seen. Here, how we have to do the Upasana at Avu Ma, how to get ourselves elevated into a stage. And finally, when we go into the last, the most pleasant and the most imperial and insurmountable stage, because where finally we get the entire bliss of Paramatma is that Turiya. What happens, that we will see in the 4th Kanda. This is preparing ourselves. The last one is sadhana. Finally, once you have got, how you are going about it, and it is the upasana. The upasana kanda is that one, we are completing that. And with this, I will try to conclude again a disturbed session of the day, due to internet. I think we will have a small meditation for 5-10 minutes, and so that we can start the year in the first meditation session. So to continue for the entire year. Now we know we need to have the entire calmness of the mind with so many things are being bandied about, and we will try to achieve that. Thank you very much, and I will formally close this session and then we will go for the meditation. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bunattu, sahaviryam karavavahi, tejasvina vatitamastu ma vishvidavahaihi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.